Hi, I'm Mary from Soy Scout, and today we're going to learn how to install a golf course from the receiver's installation to the sensors installation. So before the installation day, the first thing to do is to install the hardware on the hub. So you need to put the serial numbers to activate the Scouts, and then in their settings you can already set the soil types and then save your settings. You need to check that they are connecting properly, and you need also to charge the base station. Now you're ready, so let's move to the installation day. On the installation day, you should have some material with you. You should bring a full toolbox, some long zip ties, and extra antennas, because even if you have a very good site plan prepared beforehand, it may need to be adapted with the golf course's facilities and possibilities. So before getting started, you will need to check with the golf course team where you can actually place the receivers. And this part is crucial because you need to have the highest location possible, and preferably some places where you have clear line of sight with the areas where you want to place your Scouts. Once you have agreed with the receiver's positions, then it's time to install the base station. So in this example, we are installing the base station on the roof of the clubhouse and on the pole that is provided by the golf course. We're using a Huyghe antenna installed directly on the pole. If you were using an Omni antenna, it also works, but you need to make sure that it's 60 centimeters away from any nearby infrastructure so it can work properly. You will find dedicated installation tutorials in the description. You should have a clear line of sight from the base station antenna towards the places where you are going to put the Scouts. Start installing the Scouts that will communicate directly with this base station, starting from the Scouts that are the closest to the base station, finishing with the ones that are the furthest away. For each Scout, you need to dig a hole with the hole cutter, and then you place the Scout flat inside of the hole with his rounded antenna part facing towards the receiver antenna. So when you install the sensor, you need to make sure that from where you're installing it until the antenna, you have direct line of sight. And if you have a doubt, you can always kneel down to where the sensor will be to make sure that you have no obstacles between where you are and where the antenna is. Once the Scout is in place on the bottom of the pit, you need to pack it really tight with the soil to make sure that it's part of the continuity of the soil. So if it's packed properly, it will provide really reliable measurements right away. And then once that is done, you can put back all the remaining soil. If you are not sure whether your Scout will connect from that location, you can use the 90-second sensor that you put inside of the pit directly, and then you just need to wait 90 seconds to see if it updates on the hub. And if it updates, it means the connection can be done, so you can place the actual sensor instead of it. After each Scout is installed, you need to mark its position really carefully. You can use triangulation or mark it visually, especially if the Scout needs to be removed every time that there is an aeration. So it's really central that the team can find it easily to remove it. You should also update the Scout position in the hub, going in the Scout settings, and then you choose select my current location on the map. Just keep in mind that this location is not precise enough to be used for removing the Scouts for aeration. It is just really useful for troubleshooting or to have a proper course overview. Once the Scout is installed, packed and marked and updated in the hub, then you can move to the next one and repeat. Depending on the size and the layout of the course, you may also need to install several receivers. So the repeater, you need to make sure that the body of the repeater has direct line of sight with a base station's antenna, because the messages from the repeaters need to reach a base station to be able to be uploaded to the hub. If you are just installing a base station, then your main focus is the line of sight with its Scouts, but it doesn't need to be in the line of sight of another receiver. And finally, remember that every course is different. Sometimes the poles or trees or structures available to attach the receivers may not work perfectly with the standard screws and washers that we provide in the antenna kits. That's why it is really important that you always get zip ties and a complete toolbox with you, so you have the flexibility to adapt your setup, secure properly the antennas and the receivers, no matter the situation. And with good preparation, clear line of sight, and good receiver placement, you will have a perfectly reliable system to deliver the best of the Soil Scout data. And that wraps it up for this installation tutorial. That was Mary from Soil Scout. Thanks for watching.